This video is made possible by our sponsors, AJA. We'd like to thank AJA for all their support and tell you to go to aja.com for all your production and post-production needs. Hi, I'm Gordon Burkell from Filmmaker U. At Filmmaker U, we create courses for film professionals to deepen and diversify your existing skill set. You can learn more at filmmakeru.com, or of course follow us on Twitter at filmmaker_u. Every week we interview a film professional to discuss their work, and this week I'm joined by the father-son cinematography team, Sebastian and Wolfgang Thaler, whose recent work includes the Netflix series Transatlantic. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, thank you.
I guess my first question for you guys, when I was doing research for this, I found an interview with the creator, and she said, and I'm quoting here, and I sort of pulled because it was a long paragraph, so I tightened it up, but she said she was looking for a screwball melodrama that didn't look like a heritage piece, but it was a color saturation nightmare in paradise. So I'm wondering how you took this idea and sort of created it for her, with what she's requiring.
So we didn't want to have this retro look from the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a little bit the showrunner Anna Winger, and I had an idea of her color imaginary. So I know a little bit because she was studying photography in New York, and I already had experience in working with her on unorthodox. So, but this time we didn't want to have a very realistic style as we had on unorthodox, but this time we wanted to have modern colors, modern images. Even the story is taking place in the 40s, but at the same time, at the present time here in Europe, we have the same situation with refugees. Mm-hmm. So therefore we wanted to bring the mood also so that the audience can maybe compare a little bit to the nowadays situation with refugees here in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, it also was because it's like a story about Varian Fry, American Gold, which are rescuing Jews, and mainly there was like a lot of surrealistic artists. So the surrealistic artwork was really also influencing the work and the color palette in the show.
How did it influence the color palette? Like, was there particular pieces that you looked to, or?
No, it was more the feeling, the vibrant colors, like Wolfgang was also mentioning already. It's not about. It was more about creating a world and hell in paradise, because they were coming from Germany and arriving in paradise. So we wanted to have this to show this conflict between hell and paradise, and that's why we tried to really push the colors in the show. And also the surrealistic artwork helped a lot to define the costume colors, the art department work, and so on. So it was quite how to say it, quite intense work with the designers, with the costume designer and the art department together.
And of course, the inspiration for this was we have been shooting on original locations. There was no studio involved, nothing. So our inspiration came from the locations, from the weather situation, from the south coast of France, from the Mediterranean Sea, and the cooperation, as Sebastian mentioned, with art department, because we are lost without art department, even if you have to produce the 40s. So you're completely lost without them. And it was a very intense and very beautiful, let's say like this, cooperation.
I'm been a camera person for 30 years, and I fell in love with cinema. I heard there was free film school in France, and I wanted to get into the French film school. I really didn't know anything at the time, but I knew at least how to take pictures. So I said, I'll try for the image department. And then when I miraculously got into the French film school, I fell in love with working with the camera. You're following what's going to be in the movie. So that immediacy that the camera allows is what I loved from the beginning. I'm Kirsten Johnson, and this is my course about documentary cinematography.
Well, what's interesting too, because so like you worked with the art department, so like did you also work with like the makeup department and the other departments to make sure that the colors and everything worked within your palette, or how did that sort of come together?
Yeah, sorry.
No, start first, Wolfgang.
Yes, we did with mainly with art department and with costume department, because it's very important not having the wrong colors in the images. For example, I ask costume department not to have really blue costumes, because we wanted to have this blue color for the sea and for the sky. Was heißt Sehnsuchtsort? So, you know, the name, the title is Transatlantic. So, and the Atlantic was the place where they could save their life. So, therefore, this blue color paradise, South France. We ask for this. With makeup department, we didn't have any contact before, for some reason I don't know, but we had this during our shooting.
Now, the other thing I found when I was doing research for this, now the showrunner Anna referred to it as Sebastian's film emulation process, but then in another interview you referred to it as his LUTs. Sebastian, I was wondering if you could tell us about your how you approached creating the LUT or the film emulation look.
Yeah, when I was asked to do the show, I was immediately talking to Wolfgang about how we want to create the look for the show, and I started working on the show LUTs quite early on after I was reading the script, and we knew we wanted to have some, you know, the whole show, it's like a period piece, but it should look modern. So we decided to try to replicate a modern film stock shooting digital. So what I did was I bought some modern Kodak motion picture stock and shot some color charts and tried to match that to our digital camera. And what was also new in this process was to bring the film colors to the HDR world for Netflix. That was a special task, because film was not designed for high dynamic range output. It was just designed for SDR in the cinemas. So that was a quite, not complicated, but a deeper dive with our post-production to bring that to life, let's say like that.
Interesting. Now, Wolfgang, you had mentioned that you shot on real locations in Europe. What were some of the challenges in terms of, like, when I think about shooting in the Mediterranean or Europe, I think of small spaces because not many buildings are massive and have a ton of room. So how did you do the lighting for some of those scenes in tighter spaces?
In Europe, we are used to shoot mainly on original locations, and also the light crew is used to do this, and so we we used digital light.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's not always possible to bring light from the outside. So we had digital light, not very heavy. We could use our windows as a light source, but we mounted the light inside.
Mm-hmm.
So that we could, so that we had the light from the outside and from inside. And we had a very, very great crew in France. They made everything possible for us.
Mm-hmm.
And
sometimes we also, let's say, when we were in really tight spaces, there was like a small cabinet on the, like it was playing on the rooftop of the Hotel Splendid. We also just looked for the right light during the day and really took a natural light and really used small LEDs to really fill a little bit the faces. And that was like the main task for the small spaces.
Yeah, the secret is to use sometimes available light at the right moment in the right time. And yes, we had a very big room, to be honest, compared to here in Austria. And yeah, we are just used to shoot in small spaces, so it's not really a problem for us.
Interesting. Now, to sort of go on the flip side, you guys shot that night scene in episode 3. And one of the things I found when I was doing the research is a lot of people talked about, Wolfgang, you're really good at shooting night scenes and making them feel like night and feel dark, but not be dark, I guess you could say. So how did you guys plan for the night scenes?
Yeah, this question has to go to Sebastian, because exactly this episode 3, I had Corona. So Sebastian had to jump to do this week my job, or 2 weeks to do my job. And he unfortunately had to do all these night scenes. And I love how he did it. And maybe one of the secret why it looks for the audience so real, because he used the color contrast. Yeah, if you watch carefully, you see a tungsten light for the people, but the highlight is blue.
Oh, interesting.
And this color contrast make the light the night so real. And we have black, and it was not just it was not overall bright. So we wanted to see the faces of the actors, the characters, but we also wanted to feel that there is a real night. So it means you need black.
Yeah, you have to embrace the darkness. I mean, you don't have to like what I learned from Wolfgang is like, don't be afraid of darkness, of dark shadows, because the night is dark. So it creates a really beautiful contrast. And yeah, I don't know which scene you mentioned, episode 3. Do you mean the party scene, or
the
scene?
Party scene?
Yeah, the party scene. Yeah. No, we used there a lot of practical lights, like real candles or oil lamps, and I just really tried to, if it was not enough from the practical light, to help a little bit with some on the ceiling mounted LEDs to really a little bit help out or prolong the lighting into the room. And as Wolfgang mentioned, we really tried to, I mean, the blue comes also from the longing for freedom. That's why we used also like the color blue was reserved for the sea, for the sky, and for the night. And at the night, the night is always hard to light, because either it's a moonlight or what is it. So I tried to observe. I mean, moonlight is not really blue, but I was thinking, okay, the sun is daylight and it reflects from the moon, so maybe it's okay if the moonlight would be a little bit bluish.
And we really didn't want to have Hollywood nightlight. where you can see everything. And
Yeah.
you also realize from where the light is coming from, and where they hide these big cherry pickers, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now, Wolfgang, I have a question for you. Now, a lot of fathers, pass a lot of knowledge down to their sons, but I'm wondering, is there something you've learned in cinematography that you learned from your son?
Oh, a lot. Oh my God. I was shooting till 2014 just film, and I had no idea about digital.
Mm.
But the young generation already have been very involved in this digital world, and so and what I learned also from him, the young approach to the film. I raised in 80s and in the 90s in the film, and so for me it's a big advantage to work with him. I can learn from him, and what I have to give him is my experience. Yeah, and so therefore this cooperation I enjoy very much, to be honest.
Oh, interesting. Now, what would you guys say was, for each of you, your toughest scene to pull off?
I mean, the toughest scenes were always the scenes with the most people involved, like actors and the mass scenes, because it takes a lot of time to rehearse, to organize everything, and then you have really a little time to shoot it. And especially if you are on I don't know if you remember the dock scenes where all the refugees are coming, so you really wait for the right light, and then everything has to work. So that was quite like the hardest scenes were always the scenes where the most people were involved to get the shot done, and also with the crowd scene. So that's all. Also, the party scene was also quite intense to shoot, because it was a lot of micro stories that you had to tell, but you had to give a total overview and still be with the main story, but to capture the small stories or the small in between little candies that are in the scene. So that was quite challenging in this short time to shoot. How
long did it take you to shoot the night scene? Like, how many nights?
It was 2 nights. For the party scene, it was 2 nights, and I think it's like 1/3 of the episode, so it was quite intense.
That's pretty fast, yeah.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Wolfgang?
You have to be very relaxed if you have this scenery with many actors in the frame, because it takes a time till everybody is ready. The light is good, the sun is going down, you need the sunset, but you have to wait very patiently till everybody is ready. And this is sometimes for me a challenge to be quiet and calm.
Oh, interesting. Now, I have one last question for you guys. What would you say is your favorite guilty pleasure films or TV shows to watch?
For me at the moment, it's The Crown. It's something that.
Why is that?
Because it's a fantastic cinematography and fantastic acting, fantastic lighting, and interesting story. Like that's quite entertaining.
How about yourself, Wolfgang?
Yeah, The Crown is. I love The Crown. The other favorite. I'm sorry, I have to remember the name because I was watching 2 months ago. But The Crown is very, very beautiful shot. I like the British cinematography. They are somehow in between Europe and Hollywood. They have their very nice, beautiful own style, and they are used to do great films about, kings, queens, and all these princesses. They know this world very well, and they can do it very good.
What is it that sets their cinematography apart?
Say it again.
What is it that sets their cinematography apart or makes it different from the US or Europe?
maybe also using original locations. They have maybe not this extreme Hollywood lighting. They have excellent art department, and the camera movements, they are synchronized with the acting of the characters, and the camera movements does not move. The camera doesn't move by itself, just to move, just to show what the camera can do and what the camera is able to which movement it can do. So, but always synchronized with acting.
Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you today, guys.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Oh, welcome. So,
and that's it for this week, everyone. Make sure to check us out at filmmakeru.com, or of course, follow us on Twitter at filmmaker_u. I'm Gordon Merkel. Thanks for watching. This video is made possible by our sponsors, AJA. We'd like to thank AJA for all their support and tell you to go to aja.com for all your production and post-production needs.